So, Jet Airliner by Steve Miller. There are three different guitar parts, or three actually different guitars that are playing at the very beginning of the song. The first one's pretty simple. It's just doing an A sharp to a C. Right? There are two guitars that are playing on top of each other as part of that little lead that you hear in the beginning. Both I'll show you both parts. You can figure out which one you want to do. The one you mainly hear is the higher one, but the lower one is very similar in the progression of how you play it as the higher one is. So it shouldn't be that if you got one, you can get the other one pretty simply. But we'll go ahead and walk through this. The lower one sounds like this. And the notes that I'm playing there are starting off on my G string. We're playing the 10th fret, then going down to the 8th, then the 10th, little pause, then back to the 8th. Sorry, not the G, but the D string. Then we move down a string to the A string, and we play the same 8th fret, but this time we're going to do a pull up and down. Then we slide down to the 6th fret on the same string, and then we hit the 8th fret on the E string. We repeat that same thing, but a little bit higher up on the neck, but this time we're starting it on the B string, and we're on the 13th fret, and we're going to go 13, 11, 13, 11, and just like we did 8, 10, 8, 10, and drop down to the 8 on the next string down, we're going to do that same thing here. 13, 10, 13, 11, 13, 11, 11 for our bend, back to the 13th fret, but one more string down, and then we hit the 9th fret on that D string. So slowly. And the other one was. Beyond that, the rhythm for the song is pretty straightforward. There's one little catchy thing that he does, but he's mainly playing only two chords through the entire verse. He plays three chords during the chorus, but he changes up this one little section on the chorus, which is very similar to a change that he makes when he's playing the main rhythm. One thing to note about this rhythm track, or the rhythm, is that there's the three chords are going to be A sharp, C, and then F. And they're all played in this position. So it's the 7th or the 6th fret, the 8th fret, and then the 8th fret on your A string for your bass notes. The thing that's interesting is that when he's playing that rhythm, he does your standard thing like a pretty much only on that specific chord. When he's doing other chords, he's doing more of a little strumming thing than he's actually doing this little. There's one exception, which is at the very beginning of the verse. So it kind of goes like this. might have heard something a little different there. And that is, instead of going to this F chord right here, or the A sharp, he stays on the G and he adds these bottom two strings on the 11th fret, but plays the full chord. And it's like a... So... So that's got into a little bit into the chorus, right? So the chorus starts off on this A sharp, Airliner, right? So he throws in this little thing every once in a while during that chorus, and if you pay enough attention to the actual original tracks, what it turns out is that there's actually two guitars that are playing at this part. One is not hitting this note on this G, but is going. So he's playing more longer on this F. It might just be easier just to do the straight chords of the A sharp to the F to the C. Whoa, right? So you can try it that way. I like throwing in this little thingy because it adds a little something different to the song, and it is something that he does fairly often when you're listening to it. It's probably the hardest thing to pick up when you're listening to the track is that little part of it. Other than that, it goes back and forth between verse, chorus, into the, which is pretty straightforward, and that's about it. Hope you learned something from that. Thanks.